20 great, cheap, fresh spring and summer fragrances that I will keep recommending to you. Most of these fragrances are compliment getters. There is some fragrances that are not that great in terms of compliments, but these are somehow my favorites, let's say, and the fragrances that actually I'm gonna wear the most in this spring and summer. Before starting the main list, I have here a great honorable mention from House of Issey Miyake, Leo Blue de Issey. Such a masterpiece. It is green, has a very prominent sage note. At some points reminds me of Acqua di Gio DNA, mostly like Acqua di Gio Profumo, let's say. Oh my goodness, such a beautiful fragrance. But just like most of Issey Miyake fragrances, this one also has distribution issues. It is a bit hard to find this one, but it's still available. I can see it is like around 30 bucks for 50 ml. Such a great juice, lasts 12 hours plus, guys, and projection and sillage is solid, but not one of the most complimenting fragrances. If you are into this type of herbal and fresh fragrances, 100% a must have. Let's see the main list. At number 20 from House of Maison Alhambra, I have here Megara, one of the best performing fragrances from this house. I will try to review fragrances short because we have 20 fragrances and I don't want to make the video too long. So Megara is clone of Megamare by Orto Parisi, which is a very unusual, rare, niche smelling type of aquatic and oceanic fragrance. Compared to the Megamare, this one is less fishy, has not that shelly vibe to it, which I like this one better compared to the Megamare. And considering the price, it is like 15 bucks, 20 bucks maximum. As I said, it is one of the best performing fragrances from House of Maison Alhambra. I can get 10 hours plus. First impression was like, or first spray was like 6 hours, but it is now a lasting fragrance and projection and sillage is solid. I can go max to 3 sprays with this one. Not a complimenting fragrance, but if you are into this type of niche fragrances, niche aquatic freshy fragrances, this is absolutely a must-have for you. Number 19 is again by Issey Miyake, one of the most underrated fragrances from this house, Shade of Lagoon. A very citrusy fragrance. I really like opening of this one. It is very sour. Oh my goodness, ton of citruses. It is very yummy, very legit and high quality smelling fragrance. I can say scent profile is even better than YEDP, and when it goes to the dry down, like after 10-20 minutes, you're gonna get some sort of very refreshing green cypressy note at the background of the fragrance, and we have ambroxan at the base, but not that too prominent. Just gives to fragrance a woody kick. I can get 5 to 6 hours plus longevity with this one, gets compliments and smells mature. At number 18, Burberry Touch, another underrated and mature, legit, classy, high quality smelling cheapie. If I have to say the scent profile, it is very little soapy, and you're gonna get some sort of peppery feel at the background of the fragrance. If you have smelled fragrances like Parfums de Molly Galloway or let's say Lalique White, in that genre, it is like airy, transparent, extremely inoffensive and soapy clean. Actually performs good for this type of fragrances. I mean, transparent, airy, inoffensive fragrances last on me 10 hours plus on my skin, and projection and sillage is soapy, inoffensive, but you're gonna get noticed for first 2 hours and smells very clean. One of the best choices for extremely hot summer days and indoor situations. Let's continue by House of Montblanc at number 17, Legend Sprit. Hands down one of the most complimented fragrances from women in this price range, I have to say. Smells citrusy, aquatic, sweet, and at the dry down gets a bit more woody compared to the opening. I wish that opening lasted longer. At the dry down gets more to woody direction, but still it is a very mass appealing fragrance, very close to Invictus Aqua 2016 version and Ressassi Havas, but not as strong as those fragrances. I can get 4 to 5 hours plus longevity with this one. Projection and sillage is average or somehow below average for first hour, hour and a half. Cheap fragrances without House of Armaf is impossible. At number 16, Sauville, one of those extremely underrated fragrances from this house. Smells close to Dior Sauvage, but let's say this is like way more citrusy version of that fragrance. They boosted that citrusiness of Sauvage and they reduced that aggressive side of it. For example, we have not as much pepper or ambroxan here, but we have way more citruses here, even safer compared to the Dior Sauvage, and gets as much compliments. Also, it is great in terms of performance, like 6-7 hours plus, let's say solid 6 hours with 2 hours of good projection and sillage, and definitely gets solid compliments. Number 15, for me this is at number 1 or 2. I really love it, but when it comes to the suggestion, it is a bit difficult to impose my favorite to you. It is not for everyone, but definitely one of the absolute full bottle worthy cheapies. Bentley Black Edition. It is like citrusy, sour, gingery, and gets leafy at the mid like tobacco or violet leaves, and at the base is woody, and we have here ambroxan as well. Smells very mature and manly, masculine, has that age factor to it. For example, it is not like Mont Blanc Legend Spirit. That's why it's not for everyone. Blows me away. Such a beautiful fragrance. I get some whiffs like Aqua Fahrenheit or Fahrenheit by Dior at the background, but this one is way safer compared to that fragrance and way more citrusy and fresher. I have to say, I can get 10 hours plus 12 hours plus longevity with this one. Opens up better on the skin under the sun heat and gets better compliments. What scent profile is, at some points I can say also in round. Number 14 is Nautica Voyage, but not the regular one. My favorite one, Nautica Voyage N83. So why I don't like the regular one? Regular one is too cucumbery, watermelony in a synthetic way and gets too floral on my skin, at least at the dry down. But this one is way better compared to the regular Nautica Voyage. They put here more citruses. They reduced that cucumbery, watermelony vibe, but still it is aquatic and it is woodier at the dry down instead of floral. It doesn't last as long as Nautica Voyage. It is like 5-6 hours on my skin. I really enjoy scent profile of this fragrance. It is way better, more rounded, more polished, more professional compared to the regular one. And projection and CRG is average for first hour, hour and a half. Let's have a look at House of Resasi at number 13, Fatan. This is also one of my most worn fragrances, cheapies. But again, not for everyone. It is very close to Terre de Hermes. As you know, that fragrance is also a mature and polarizing fragrance, love and hate type of fragrance. This is even more daring compared to the Terre de Hermes, as it is stronger and greener. They boosted that green feel of the fragrance here. If you like, mind blowing. If you like zesty, citrusy, earthy and green fragrances, considering the price, this one is absolutely a must-have for you. Again, I say it is not for everyone. It is not a safe blind buy worthy fragrance. If you like mature citrusy fragrances, go after it. I can get like 10 hours plus longevity with this one. This is older batches, which is green. Newer batches are yellow, orangish, but I haven't tried them. But I can say, I can assure you, this green juice is 10 hours plus easily, and projection and CRG is solid for first 2 hours. Keep sending those resources. Again, at number 11, Agra. One of those must-have fragrances from this house, which smells extremely expensive and legit, I have to say. It is like bitter, herbal, inoffensive, mass appealing and mature, dressed up. Very close to, almost identical to, Green Irish to it from House of Creed. One of the best copies of that fragrance, because I cannot get that bitter feel of Green Irish to it in most of, let's say, copy cologne dupes, but in this one I can get that bitter herbal vegetal feel of that fragrance. Perfumes a little bit better, little bit just, compared to the Green Irish Tweed. I can get 6-7 hours, let's say good 6 hours with Green Irish Tweed. With this one, good 7 hours. Projection and CRG is average for first hour, hour and a half. Now we are at sub 10. We are going fast like always. If you found value in my videos, if you think honestly I add value to you, I don't waste your time, remember to subscribe and one of these thumbs up so you can support me by your likes and I can rank higher. I really appreciate that. So let's continue by House of Armaf. Club de Nuit Iconic at number 10. I would say it is one of the best Bleu de Chanel inspired fragrances, not colognes or alternatives. Smells close to that fragrance, but not identical. It is very difficult for me at least to find a very legit high quality identical cologne to that fragrance. Smells very high quality, that Bleu de Chanel, and it is very difficult to get that legit DNA, but this is also not a bad job, and in terms of that inspiration, it is a great alternative. For me here, that incensey note is missing, but if you like that fragrance, this is also a great inspired fragrance. Lasts long, 8-10 hours plus, and projection and CRG is solid for first 2 hours. I would suggest this one like 8 sprays, then all is good. At number 9, extremely mass appealing fragrance. I mean it, and as much underrated for whatever reason, I have no idea. From House of Salvatore Ferragamo, Uomo Casual Life. Look at this beautiful scent profile. It is mouth-watering, it is sweet, it is legit, it is polished, inoffensive and extremely appealing. If you like lemon, coffee, mint, and sweet notes all are here. Actually, I bought this one because of Carlos, Brooklyn fragrance lover, rest in the peace. And I'm sure where you are right now smells very great, Carlos. Yes, shout out to you, man. So this one is like 6 to 7 hours plus in terms of longevity. Yeah. And projection and sillage at first hour, I have to say, pushes good. It is like, wow, this is like a blast of projection. After that is average. So let's say to this one, very good at first hour and average at the second hour in terms of projection and sillage. Seems most of my fragrances in today's video are underrated fragrances. Again, another underrated gem at number 8, Rochas L'Homme or Rochas L'Homme, Rochas L'Homme. So it is a dense, concentrated, shower jelly and woody, slightly spicy fragrance with generous amount of sweetness, let's say to this one. When I say concentrated, I mean it is lungs filler. When you sniff the atomizer or sniff it in the air, smell it in the air, it is like dense, says I'm here. You can see fragrance is powerful, smells clean, masculine, modern, mass appealing. I can get like 8, 9 hours, max 10 hours plus longevity with this one, and solid projection for first 2 hours, and sillage is also good. At number 7, again by Maison Alhambra, Jorge di Profundo or Jorge di Profundo. As you can see from the bottle and the name, they are going after Acqua di Gio Profundo. In terms of scent profile, I would say it is a very successful job. It is like 95% and almost identical to that fragrance in the air. I have to say very close to Acqua di Gio Profundo. In terms of scent profile and price, I would say it is one of the best alternatives of that fragrance, but not in terms of performance, as it is like 5 to 6 hours in terms of longevity, but it is fair enough. That fragrance is expensive for you. Smells aquatic, airy, extremely mass appealing, and legit high quality. It doesn't smell anything cheap here. Number 6, again by Maison Alhambra, again another great job, Jorge di Profumo. Again, they are going after Acqua di Gio Profumo here, which is sadly discontinued. If you cannot find that fragrance, if parfum version is also, which is very close to Profumo, expensive for you, you can easily get this one, and it is longer lasting even compared to the Jorge di Profundo, like 1 hour more last on my skin, but not as accurate as Jorge di Profundo. But I can say it is also enough close. I can just not get that incensey vibe as clear as Acqua di Gio Profumo, but still that incensey feel or vibe is available here as well. Now we're at top 5. Let's continue again by House of Armaf, one of the best jobs in the last 1-2 years. From this house, I have to say Urban Man Elixir, Club de Nuit Urban Man Elixir, a very busy, crowded fragrance, and you're gonna get a few different familiar and complementing DNAs in this one bottle. For example, I can get Dior Sauvage immediately, touch of Creed Aventus, Y EDP, and Invictus by Paco Rabanne. I really enjoy this mixture, this hybrid, smells complementing and legit. Just for extremely hot days, I believe it is too sweet, but yeah, it is also a round type of fragrance. It's okay for normal summer days, but not for extremely hot days, in my opinion. Lasts on me solid 8-10 hours plus. Projection and sillage is good for first 2 hours. And definitely one of my most complimented fragrances from House of Armaf. Number 4, from House of Franck Olivier. It is a very great job, guys. Blue Touch. It is very close to Acqua di Gio. Honestly, after I have this one, I will never ever buy Acqua di Gio again. Smells identical to that fragrance. $20 for 100 ml, unbelievable. And it is stronger and projects better compared to that fragrance, and for sure lasts longer. I can get 8 hours plus with this one, which is impossible with newer batches of Acqua di Gio, and it smells as bright, as inviting and refreshing as that fragrance. I have to say, nothing here cheap. For example, like Perfumes Red, that fragrance is also close to Acqua di Gio, but has some twist, definitely, and smells at some points cheap to my nose, but this one has not that cheap vibe, I have to say that. At number 3, by Letzafa, Sheikh Al Shuyuk Final Edition. This is their second take, if I'm not mistaken, on Y EDP by Yves Saint Laurent. There is also Fakar Black, but that fragrance is weaker compared to this one. I believe this is a better value for your money compared to that fragrance. That is also fair enough close to Y EDP, but this is better in terms of performance. I can say it is at top 10 most complimented cheap fragrances in my collection. It is very sour and mass appealing, exactly like YEDP. Exactly, and leans less woody, earthy. Maybe it is better at some points if you are not into that rooty, earthy, dry down of, beautiful, dry down of YEDP. Last on me, solid 8 hours plus, and projection and sillage is good for first 2 hours. Gets solid compliments, guys. At number 2, from House of Afnan, Turathi Blue. A solid, long-lasting, outstanding and different smelling type of woody, citrusy fragrance. Has a very unique scent profile. I like it. It is, at some points, reminds me of also YEDP. It is cologne of Bulgari Tiger. But that sourness, that fruitiness, that juiciness is in genre of YEDP, let's say, to this one, and gets ambroxany, woody at the dry down. I can get 8 hours plus longevity with this one. Last up to 10 hours, but first 8 hours are solid, I have to say. After that is skin scent and good projection and sillage for first 2 hours. Complimenting factor, 8 out of 10. At number 1, at the top of the list, one of the best cheap fragrances that I will keep recommending to in spring and summer 2024. You're gonna see that. By the way, if you haven't subscribed yet, please remember to subscribe. Let's continue by House of Armaf again. Club de Nuit Sillage, one of the best takes on Silver Mountain Waters DNA from House of Creed. Yeah, it is not exact cologne of that fragrance. It is possible to catch those clear differences. For example, this is woody, spicy at the base, which is not available in the real stuff. We don't have that much woody, spicy notes in the Silver Mountain Water, but fair enough, it is a great twist. They added more masculine vibe to the fragrance with those added woody, spicy notes, and DNA can handle these added notes, I believe, and leans more masculine right now compared to the real stuff, compared to the Silver Mountain Water. Scent profile is like silky, smooth and refreshing, citrusy, very little green, leafy like, and gets musky at the dry down. I can get 10 hours plus in terms of longevity with this one. And projection and sillage is great for first 2 hours, like the name sillage. Sillage is way bigger compared to the projection. Take care, guys.